The defending champions are getting roasted by their own rivals, and they can't even argue back. Hendrick Motorsports won it all last season. Right now, they're an afterthought in their own manufacturer standings. And Denny Hamlin just stood in front of a microphone and laughed about it. This is what a championship hangover looks like in real time. Here's where things stand. Hendrick Motorsports, the organization that closed out 2025 with a title, is now buried behind Toyota teams in the Chevrolet owners' point standings. Byron is sitting in 12th. Kyle Larson hasn't won a race since May of last year. Alex Bowman missed a month of the season dealing with vertigo. Chase Elliott has 2 wins, but he also just won 8 straight races without cracking the top 10. And on Denny Hamlin's podcast, he pointed out something brutal. The highest scoring Chevrolet team in the owner standings right now isn't Hendrick, it's Joe Gibbs Racing, driving Toyotas. He called JGR the satellite team for Chevy, and the shot landed exactly where he wanted it to. To understand why this stings so much, you have to remember where Hendrick was 12 months ago. Larson was champion. Elliott looked like the sport's next dominant face. This was the sport's flagship organization, full stop. Now flip to mid-2026. 3 straight race weekends, all 4 Hendrick cars, 0 top 10 finishes combined. At Watkins Glen, every single Hendrick driver finished outside the top 20 on a road course, a result this organization hadn't produced since 2005. Then Indianapolis happened. Elliott's race got wrecked after contact sent him into a turn 2 tire failure. Larson blew a left rear tire of his own. Hamlin never won the let a moment pass made it clear he wasn't buying the idea that either incident was simple. Bad luck. His read was that this was a team pushing setups past their limit, not randomness. There's also a legal storm hanging over all of this. Joe Gibbs Racing has an $8 million lawsuit against Spire Motorsports, alleging that a former JGR competition director left with sensitive setup information that helped fuel Spire's rise. Carson Hocevar, Spire's driver, currently sits as the top Chevrolet performer in the standings, which is exactly why Hamlin's joke about a satellite team cut in 2 directions at once. It mocked Hendrick's slide and pulled directly at the ongoing legal fight in the same breath. For a locker room that's used to being the standard everyone chases, this is new territory. And it's happening right before the sport's most important stretch of the year. Let's break down what's actually going wrong here, because bad luck doesn't explain a slump this deep. The core issue traces back to the new 2026 Camaro ZL1 body. Every manufacturer had to adapt to it, but Toyota's camps, JGR and 23XI specifically, cracked the aerodynamic code early. Hendrick has not. That gap compounds every single week. In a sport where fractions of aerodynamic efficiency separate a top 5 run from a mid-pack finish, being behind on the body package is not a small disadvantage. It's the difference between contending and surviving. Then there's the personnel problem. Larson's crew chief has been open about losing key people off the championship-winning pit crew and engineering group after last season. Rebuilding trust and communication between a driver and a completely reshuffled support staff mid-season is one of the hardest things to do in a sport. Chemistry isn't something you can shortcut. It's built through mistakes, adjustments, and repetition, all things a team doesn't have much time for once the season is already rolling. Is this fixable before the playoffs? Possibly. Elliott has said Rick Hendrick is already working on simulator time and aero tweaks specifically targeted at flat ovals, a smart, targeted approach rather than a broad panic reset. That's the encouraging sign here. Hendrick isn't ignoring the problem. But here's the risk. NASCAR's playoff format punishes any team that isn't peaking at exactly the right moment. You can't bank points and coast. If Hendrick's fixes don't show results in real time, on track in the next several weeks, this becomes a lost season for an organization that's never had one of those in the modern era. The reaction split right down the middle. A chunk of the fan base is loving the villain to underdog turn. Nothing sells like watching a giant stumble. Rival fan bases are fully enjoying Hamlin's jab, replaying the satellite team line every chance they get. On the other side, longtime Hendrick supporters are frustrated, and rightly so. This isn't a rebuilding team. This is a 5-time championship organization with one of the deepest resource pools in the sport, watching mid-tier teams outperform them on a weekly basis. That frustration is only going to grow louder if the next few races don't show real progress. Best case, Hendrick's aero and simulator work pays off fast. The flat oval fixes translate to real results. Larson and his rebuild crew find their rhythm right as the playoffs open, and this slump becomes a footnote, a scary mid-season wobble on the way to another deep playoff run. Worst case, the gap to Toyota stays exactly where it is. Hendrick limps into the playoffs on points alone, gets outclassed on strategy and speed by JGR and 23XI cars, and the defending championship organization gets bounced early, while Denny Hamlin gets to keep making jokes all October. So here's the real question. Is this a temporary stumble from a team adjusting to a new car body, or is this the first real sign that Hendrick's window at the top is closing? Drop your prediction in the comments, best case or worst case, and tell me which Hendrick driver turns it around first. If you want breakdowns like this every single week, make sure you're subscribed. SportsWire USA isn't going anywhere.